me. I was made for more. A lot of people, yeah, they doubt me. I was made for more. Even though the road may be rocky, I was made for more. Yeah, the enemy can't stop me. I was made for more. I was born for greatness and not defeat. Cause I know my God made a way for me. He making ways.
Good morning, everybody. It's that time of the weekend again. Welcome to another episode of the Made for More show. I'm Princess Fornah, aka Pastor P, and I am your favorite hostess. I'm so excited that you guys have decided to connect with me this morning. As you are viewing, please go ahead and share the link and tag somebody and let them know that we are live. And this is part 2 of all things financial. Let me go ahead and share as well. Last week we learned so much with my special guest, Mr. Fred Wilson. He was such a blessing, and you guys had loads and loads of questions that he did address, and it was just an awesome time with all of you. And so today we have returned to wrap things up, and I cannot wait to hear from you all, and I'm sure he's got a lot of great nuggets to share with you all today. So please go ahead and share, and go ahead and come on in here, invite somebody, tag somebody, and let's get this party on the road tonight. I'm really excited, you guys. I'm always like a kid in a candy store whenever I connect with you all. So let's go ahead and get the links out. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, let me see y'all. Let me feel your love. Let the hearts go. Let the let your comments start coming in. I'm really excited about this morning's episode. I'll share just a few more contacts while you all do the same, and we will take off this morning. Amen. I hope you all have had a blessed week this week. I hope you all have to just be able to focus on the positives and on the best, okay? So you guys already know how we do on the Made for More show. Let's go ahead and say a quick word of prayer. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, God, we are just so grateful for watching over us all through the week, for protecting us, for watching over our families, for just being a good and a faithful God. We know that some of the days may not have went the way we planned or the way we wanted it to, but God, yet still we give thanks. And even the day, I just want to thank you for Mr. Fred Wilson and for all my viewers and my guests. And even as we dive into such an important topic as finances, I pray that God will be able to learn such great nuggets that are going to help us to better our lives and to be good stewards of the riches, the wealth, and the influence and the blessings that you've given to us. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. So I'm not going to waste much time. Like I said, this is part 2. I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guest, and we'll get started. So everybody, help me welcome Mr. Fred Wilson. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. You are looking good this morning, sir.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you on here. I didn't do a formal intro today like I did last week, so I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to just talk about yourself real quick.
Oh, wow.
Just give them a reminder and a refresher of who you are, what you do, and all that stuff. I mean, they already know you, a little bit, but for those that are tuning in to today's episode for the first time, who you are, what you do, and we'll get right into all things financial. Over to you.
Right. Well, first I want to start off by thanking my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for the privilege and the opportunity to be able to come before you today to give you some information that's well needed in our community. The first thing, again, my name is Fred Wilson. I'm a regional vice president of a financial service company. I've been in business for over 26 years, talking about all things financial. And we got a lot of great information that we shared last week, and we got a lot of more great information that we're going to share with you guys this week. Marriage, 3 kids. I almost forgot 3 kids, and have offices in over, I think, almost 16 or 17 different states. And we're moving forward. Again, spreading the word, spreading the good word, making sure that people get the information, because we said knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is power, because we can have the knowledge but not use it. So we're going to start by using the knowledge that we got by applying it. So that's my part. I'm glad to again be on here. So let's go.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I am excited for this morning's episode. So last week we spoke about a lot. And this week we're just going to pick up from there. If you missed last week's episode, it's still up on all my platforms. You can watch it right here on my Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, just scroll down and look for All Things Financial. And then also, if you're watching on YouTube, I believe the video is still up on there. Again, just look for All Things Financial, Made for More show, and you'll be able to watch it. Okay, so let's get started. So this morning, I want us to pick up with credit, and credit scores. What are credit scores? Let's say for a novice that don't know anything, what are credit scores? Why are credit scores important? What is their relevance? So what are credit scores all about?
Okay. Well, credit scores, believe it or not, this is pretty much how they determine depending on what your score is, how they determine, are they going to lend you money, loan you money, or don't give you any money by the score that you have. And with different scores, for example, you see you can go all the way up to 800, 750, 800 credit score. And those are ones that have immaculate credit, which means that you'll get a higher score. Now, then you have the lower end, even with the mortgage industry now, they're saying because the scores have dropped some, you can have at least a 620 to able to get into a home. But still, the better your credit score, the better. And when you look at credit score, they also look at your character, because credit is all about your character in most cases. Okay, meaning that, are you going to pay me back the money? The credit that we gave you, okay, are you able to handle what we gave you? So the higher the score means that you're more responsible to get more money. And if you get more money, you're going to do more right things with the money that you get. And then on the other hand, they look at it as though if your credit score is not so good, and this is not how I'm looking at it, but this is how the industry is looking at it. You got TransUnion, you got Equifax, okay, and you have Experian. You have those three credit scores. So between those 3 credit scores, depending on what we always say you got a high, you got a middle, and you got a low. And the one in the middle really counts as your real credit score. So let's say you have a 700. Let's say you have 650, and let's say you have 675. So your actual credit score that they're going to kind of grade you by will be that middle one, which is the 675, even though you got a 650 and you got a high. So you got a high, you got a low, and you got it in the middle. Okay, so generally they will go by that 675, depending on what credit bureau is pulling your actual credit. And a lot of times, as I said before, going back to the other side about having good credit, depending on your credit score, okay, and they look at your character. Do I have bankruptcies? Okay, do I pay my bills back on time? Am I 30 days late? Am I 90 days late? Am I 120 days late? Okay, do I have charge-offs? Do I have this? Do I have that? All those things determine, what your credit score make up. Doctor bills now that are on your credit score. Leaving apartments, foreclosures, all those different types of things make up your credit score. So that's why it's important to get your credit pretty much cleaned up. And then here's the other thing: a lot of customers or employees, employers, or merchants can hold you accountable to not loan you money, to not lend you money, depending on your credit score, because they know they're not going to get the money back in most cases. Or sometimes people take a shot on you and say, okay, well, we're going to lend you some money a little bit to see how you pay us back. And then depending on how you pay us back is going to determine how much more money we're able to give you at that point in time. So a lot of times when we're talking about credit score, lending, even with your job now, they look at your credit score and you fill out a job application. They're looking at saying, you got a Fair Credit Reporting Act, even with my company, and they can deny you a job depending on your credit score, because again, it's going by your character a lot of times.
Yeah. Yes, I recently actually found that out, that usually when they're doing like your background check, when you apply for jobs and stuff like that, they're checking all the way to your credit scores and all of that. So definitely glad that you did mention that. Good morning, everyone. If you guys are just tuning in this morning, we're discussing all things financial part 2, and we're starting off with credit scores and credit. If you're just logging on, please go ahead and share this broadcast, tag somebody, and then also, just like last week, go ahead and post all your questions, your comments, your concern. Let's get interactive and let's educate ourselves. Okay, like you said, knowledge is key, but applied knowledge is power. So we want to be able to get to a level of understanding where we can apply everything that we're learning this morning into our personal lives and into our financial lives. Okay, so you've broken down for us, the relevance and the importance of credits and credit scores and all that good stuff. What do you think are some of the major factors or some of the major keys or things that causes people to ruin their credits, that you maybe seen or have experienced during your lifetime of working with finances and stuff like that? What do you think are the major things that causes people to ruin their credit scores and their credit?
One of the main reasons, or one of the main things I have seen, is credit card debt. Credit card debt. And believe it or not, it's not all our fault to a certain extent, but it is all of our responsibility. For example, I do seminars at different colleges and, higher learning institutions. And one of the things I see when I go down the hall of the, a higher learning that says a college here, you see credit card offers on both sides of the wall while you're walking down. Now, you're giving credit to a 17 or 18-year-old that just left out of the house, that's at home on campus, don't have any money. They had one buying pizza. They're going to be buying everything with the credit card. They give you like a $500 balance, okay, to start off with. So a lot of times you get jammed up, even as a 18-year-old, 17-year-old, you're getting jammed up before you even get started, before you even finish college to even get to start obtaining a home and all the other things you get. So a lot of things are put out there for us, but if we're not responsible with the things that they put out there and we take advantage of those things will soon take advantage of us because we don't know how they work. That's one of the main things. The next thing is biting off more than you can chew. I always use the simple method of with credit. If you can't, within one pay period to 2 pay periods, if you can't pay for it, then don't get it. Go back to the old system of doing a layaway type scenario, okay? Right. Because we bite off more than what we can chew. And then that gets us behind the 8 ball. And then from there, it's just like a big revolving snowball coming downhill and you can't get away from under it.
Mm-hmm. So with credit cards, right? And since that's like the major factor that usually tend to ruin people's credit scores, what is it that people should be looking out for when it comes to acquiring credit cards or using credit cards, when they're utilizing credit cards or when they're acquiring it? What are some of the things that they should be looking out for when it comes to credit cards?
Okay. And as we said before, credit cards are not bad. It's just people with bad habits that use credit cards. Okay, that's the challenge. So first of all, I always want to make that point. Like he said, credit cards are bad. No, credit cards are not bad. It's how you use the credit cards which makes them good or which makes them bad. Okay. Now, for example, a good credit card, again, going through your local banks, which I'm going to say again, USAA, if you can get those, Navy Federal, a lot of your different credit unions, Bank of America, I don't know what part of the country you're at, different banks, you can get a credit card, Wells Fargo, you have these different type of credit cards. Those are some of the companies that you can get credit cards from. If you're just starting out and you want to get your first credit card, there's other types of credit cards, whereas though I would suggest for everybody, if this is your first credit card, go to a bank and get a secured credit card. So you can start establishing credit that way, get about $200 to $300 on a secured credit card. That's money that you put in there. Right. Okay. That's money that you put on the credit card. Okay. And then from there, kind of, use it, pay it off, use it, pay it off, use it, pay it off. And then eventually the bank will say, listen, you put your money up first. Okay. We didn't use our money. You used your money, and we saw that you can handle it in a good way. So now we're going to give you a credit card of $1,000 balance. And then we're going to see how you do with that. And then we're going to raise it up from there. And then we're going to raise it up from there. So you do your due diligence first. If you never had a credit card, start off with a secure credit card. You put your money up front and see how you work out with putting your money up first, and then pay a little bit, go to the gas station, pay it off. Okay. If you go out to eat a couple of different places, not all the time, pay it off at the end of the month. So you get in the habit. So everything we call it 21-day rule. Do something for 21 days and you conform a habit. So you want to start conforming habits. So those are one of the things as far as credit cards is, I would say.
Definitely. And I can certainly concur to what you said about once the bank have seen a good habit with your spending and your credit and stuff like that, that they would increase. Because I remember when I first started with credit cards, I had an $800 limit. And after a couple of months or so, I noticed that it went from 800 to 1,500. And I'm over here like tripping, like, wait, what happened? What's happening? What's going on? Like, what I have to do? Until I called my bank, and then I found out that, oh yeah, we increased your spending limits because you've done well, so far over the past couple of months. But and over the years, it kept increasing. So from 800 to 15 to 2,000 to 7K, and so the more they see that you're managing them well, the more the increase, they can realize that, okay, we can trust her with more. So somebody is saying, what is APR when it comes to credit cards? What is a good APR percentage when acquiring a credit card? And how does APRs work? So what is APR? What's a good percentage that they should look out for when getting a credit card? And how does APRs work?
Right. APR stands for annual percentage rate. That's your annual percentage rate. So that's the rate that they give you when they give you the credit card. On the average, it starts out around 22% for if you never had a credit card. Now, some are 14, depending on your credit score. Again, credit score, a good APR is under 10%. If you can get something under 10%, that's a good APR, annual percentage rate. A lot of times, if you're getting store credit, okay, with credit cards from a store like Nordstrom's or Macy's, and a lot of those cards start at 22%, no matter what your credit score is. A lot of them start at, not all of them, but a lot of them start at 22%. And then, they go as high as 28%, 30%, which I call loan shark. And once you get past 28, 29%, 30% with your credit cards. Now, this is one of the things that I teach families, or I teach people as far as credit cards. No matter what your credit card, your APR is, let's say it's 20% APR. Here's a little, which I want to say, this is how you check the checker here. If I have a 20, now generally APR is simple interest, is how they charge you on simple interest. Simple interest means that I'm charging you daily. And if you look at the back of your credit card, you'll see annual daily percentage rate. So they're charging you a percentage daily. So what happens is most credit card companies, they give you an amount that you need to pay monthly. Let's say I'm supposed to pay $50 a month. That's my monthly payment, $50 a month. What I generally tell my clients to do, if you have a credit card, I said, just try me on this. Just try me on it. See if it works out. And if it don't work out, say, Fred, it didn't work. But almost 10 times out of 10, it works. So, for example, if I got a $50 payment that I'm supposed to pay, credit card goes by simple interest, meaning that as I make a payment, it has to recalculate because your interest rate is recalculating every single day. So, for example, it says on your credit card statement, you need to pay this in 28 days. It tells you that in 28 days. So once it tells us to pay it in 28 days, guess what we do? Pay it in 28 days. So we believe that we're good consumers if we pay it within the 28 days. But the reason why they want you to pay it in the 28 days is because they get an opportunity to charge you 28 days worth of interest. Okay? 28 days worth of interest. So what you do is, if I'm supposed to pay $50, As soon as I get my statement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These days are going by. When I get to the 10th or 11th day, no matter what day you get to, make a $25 payment. Pay half of it. Your interest has to recalculate and start back over at 1 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pay another $25. That's your $50 that you paid for the month. But guess what, guys? You didn't pay 28 days worth of interest. You cut your interest in half. So now you're using a credit card as though it's a layaway. Okay? Now they're not getting a chance or opportunity to charge you all that interest. And then continue to keep doing that. Then what's going to happen after that is they're going to send you something saying instead of paying $50 a month, now just pay us $25 a month. Most people fall into the trap and they go back to 28 days later paying the $25 a month instead of still breaking that money up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, make a payment. $13, $14, $15. It recalculates, starts from 1 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, make another payment. So I still made my $25 monthly payment, but I broke up the interest. So you didn't charge me on 22% interest. You only charge me about probably 3 or 4 or 5% interest, no matter what the credit card is.
That's good. That's good. So with credit cards and credit scores and APRs and all of that stuff, let's say somebody has maybe ruined their credit somehow. Their credit is not where it's supposed to be, and all of that stuff. What are some ways in which a person can rebuild their credit and they can bring up their credit scores? What do you think are some helpful tips or pointers that you might be able to share with us that a person can be able to apply, or that a person can be able to do to be able to bring their scores back up? Let's say they're drowning or swimming in debt. Let's say their credit scores has come down to about 400, 405 something. How can they bounce back from there?
Okay. One of the things you can do is call the creditors that you owe the money to, not to get on a payment plan, but call them to let them know that, listen, I'm running into some hard time. However, I'm fighting. I'll use this terminology. I'm fighting, I'm scratching, I'm clawing to make sure I pay you guys back. So kind of work with me on that. That's the first thing I would say. Now they may hear it. They may say, okay. They may say yes, no, it don't matter. But you're at least putting it out there, and you're at least on a recorded line that you call in to try to make an effort to start paying on some of your credit cards or trying to clear some of your stuff up. The second thing is find out the ones the credit that you have, like this bad credit. See if you can repair it. I mean, if it's past 7 years and things are still on your credit report, it's supposed to fall off anyway. Make sure that the credit that you do have, okay, make sure that it's yours, because I can swipe one key on my computer and they can give you something and it's not even yours, but now you're being responsible for something that's not even yours.
That's true. Not to cut you off real quick, please hold that thought. That actually happened to me while I was in the military. Apparently, my one of my chiefs, we were going through a future career evaluation, development plan, and stuff like that, and they found out that I owned a house in Mississippi. I'm like, where? You know what I'm saying? Somebody's chilling in my house somewhere that I had no idea about. So
Right.
I now had to fight it and report it. And, I eventually got it off my credit report. But I had a house somewhere that I knew nothing about. So
Right.
it definitely is important for y'all to find out what is on your credit scores. What are you being, I don't know if accused is the word to use, but what are you being accused of owning, spending, or whatever it may be, and make sure that it really is you or not. And one thing that I find out is that you can dispute some of those things if they're not yours. But sorry to interrupt. Continue.
Oh, no problem. No, and that's the next thing I was going to say. Make sure that it's yours, because they do that. I mean, I've had a house. I have filed taxes in Florida. I don't live in Florida. So we have something what's called identity theft, and it's rampant. And it's just crazy right now what's going on with identity theft. If your address is off by one number. So that's why they always, when you're doing your credit report, they always say, okay, what's your address? And they ask you like 2 or 3 different things so they can identify that the person that you're talking about is the actual person. So one of the things, again, of helping to fix your credit is get your credit report. You can do your annual report from TransUnion, Experian, Equifax. See what you have on there. Okay. If you have debts that you need to pay something on them. All they want is for you to see some type of, I'm at least trying to pay on this. I don't have it, but I'm at least trying to pay on it. Can you work with me? Can you not put this on my account? I mean, you can talk yourself through a whole lot of different things because everyone knows that we're in a pandemic right now. I'm still in a pandemic. Everybody knows COVID is here. And you know, it's like a bomb being dropped. People have been laid off. You got a lot of different laws. I don't know all of them, but some of the things you can get out of as far as your credit is concerned because of what's happening in the pandemic and because of, you know, losing your job or being hours cut back. So there's a lot of things you can do if you just call the creditor up and say, listen, this is what's going on. Sometimes they don't care, but it's worth a shot. The other thing real quick is secure credit cards. I mean, start with secure credit cards, building up your credit again, because you have to build your credit up. Even though it's tore down, it's raggedy or what have you, you have to start from somewhere. So start with secure credit cards. Start putting your money up front. They want to see what you do with your money. Now you done messed up our money, and then see what you're going to do with your money. And then we're going to kind of move from there. And the other thing I was going to say, which I forgot because I went into the other part, but those are the basic things is, you know, start paying them on time. You know, a lot of people do like what they call repossessions and different things like, oh, I know what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. What happened was real quick, and this is very important, when the pandemic hit starting last year, whatever credit card balances you had, what the credit card companies started doing was, and it was kind of like a trick to the trade on their part, because you want to be at least 30%. So if you got 100%, you want your credit card balance to be around 30%. So if 30%, you can keep a good credit score. You're not too high limit, okay? Out of 100%, you need 30%, so you got 70% to work with. What the creditors was doing was they was lowering your credit, your debt, your balance. So when they lower your balance, if you was like with me, I had a 30% on all my credit cards. When they lowered the balance, it took my up to like 50%. So it looks like they get a chance to raise your credit. You know, they lower your balance down to come towards that part, which means that now you look like you over the limit. So when you're over the limit, now they can start charging you all these type of fees, over the limit fee, this type of fee, that type of fee. So that's when the fees come in. So for example, I called Nordstrom real quick. I said, well, my balance was $5,000. You cut it down to $2,500. Now I don't spend that much on it, but you cut it down to $2,500. And I had some purchases that were on there. So it brought my purchases, my balance closer to my purchases, which means that now you're a risk. You're a risk. So now we can start charging you fees and all these other different things. So, but they can do that. So once I said, well, I'm going ahead and pay this credit card also, when I brought it down from there, they brought it down to $1,500. So you're talking about a $5,000 credit card and almost 8 months down to $1,500. So, you know, you just got to watch out for the little, you know, tricks of the trade that creditors are doing, because their goal is to make you pay as much as possible, and your goal is to pay as less as possible. That's so it's a tug of war.
Right, definitely. So Mr. Dominic Asari is saying this is some real good stuff. Mr. Derek is saying, wow, this is very good information. So thank you, Mr. Wilson. Right. We are learning. So somebody is saying, so what is debt consolidation? And how can a person go about consolidating their debt? So what is debt consolidation and how they can go about consolidating?
Right. Debt consolidation is taking all of your debts, your installment loans. If you're just doing a regular debt consolidation, you're generally not putting a mortgage into it, because then that would be like, you know, on the mortgage side. You're just taking all your credit card debt, maybe some installment loans, and you're consolidating all those debts together. And they're giving you one payment and one interest rate to pay all those things off. Now, in the interim, what you also have done was pay off all the different credit cards. So you paid everybody off, which it can be a good thing, because if you got a 20%, a 19%, a 18%, a 20%, your interest rate generally would be higher. So if I take 4 credit cards and consolidate them and take a couple installment loans, put all those goals together, now by me putting them all together, now I only have one interest rate that I'm paying on those things. That one interest rate, and I went from paying simple interest to paying 30 days worth of interest, meaning Not to confuse you means they charge, instead of charging you daily, they're charging you monthly. And now I'm making a monthly payment instead of paying $25 this month, $50 this month, $75 this month, $25 this month. I'm paying it as an installment loan. So my debt consolidation turns into now an installment loan that I'm paying instead of going up and down, up and down, up and down. So that's the biggest thing. Now, if it's a mortgage and you're doing a refinance and you can get the car, you can pay all these things off. A lot of people say, well, why would I put my car into my mortgage and do all this? Once you drive that car off the lot, you already lost 20% off the balance of that, what the car's worth anyway. So what better way to kind of make up for it? If you can put it in there, pay that off, consolidate your debts that way, and then you can also write the interest off. Again, remember we talked about last week, 7 income streams. Yeah. So all the income that you got coming back in, now if I had a self-employed business, now I can write that interest off. And even at tax time, I can write the interest off on my mortgage because now I did a debt consolidation or a refinance at that point in time.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. We're learning a whole lot. This is part 2 of All Things Financial. And this is the Princess Fornah Network, the Made for More show. I'm Princess Fornah, your host. If you're just tuning in and you have any questions, please continue to post the questions, and we'll continue to address them as we go on with the show. Please share this broadcast. Tag somebody, let them know, hey, I know your spending habits. I know you need to get your life together. So come on in here and get this information and let's do better, and let's grow with our finances. Miss Audrey is saying, I'm learning. Thank you for explaining more things to us on finances for us to know. You're welcome. Mr. Wilson, you are such a blessing to us on the Made for More show these past 2 weekends. So you mentioned a little bit about mortgages, right? And when we're talking about mortgages, we're basically talking about acquiring homes, buying houses, buying condos, whatever it may be. So with mortgages, what really should one be concerned with when it comes to buying a home and with mortgages? Why should I go and buy a home where I would have to be responsible for everything, whereas I can just rent? And if if I need somebody to come fix my light for me, I just call the rental office. If I need somebody to come do something, I can just call the rental office. So why should I leave that and buy a house? What's the point of acquiring a mortgage, buying a house? Why is that even like a thing, or why is it even important?
Right. Because the biggest thing is home ownership. And one thing I want to say on the debt piece, and I'm definitely going to hit the mortgage, we use another tool called, and I know you probably heard of, it's called debt stacking, which means that similar to a consolidation, but you're using it in the opposite direction. If I have 5 or 6 debts that I got to pay, the ones that I can pay off generally go by the highest interest rate or the lowest balance, depending on how you look at it. I will pay that one off, take the money that I paid that one off with, and I'll jump on the next bill, and I gang up on that bill. And once I knock that one off, I take those 2 debts and I gang up on the third bill. So what you're doing is you're putting a higher percentage amount on those bills that you're paying off, and you're cutting the interest and everything it has, especially if you're paying it the way we're saying paying. So our debt stacking program, it can take a 30-year mortgage, or it can take $30,000 worth of debt and be done in almost 3 to 4 years being done. Paying minimum payments on just still doing what you're already doing and just sticking with it. The challenge is pretty much sticking with it. Right. Now going to the mortgage part, people feel pride of home ownership. So, as before I, bought my house or, was going into getting a house or what have you, a lot of times you look at 2 certain ways. Do I want the headache of doing this, that, or third? In most cases, you do. You just don't know it yet. But a lot of times you like, well, I don't want to pay for this, but home ownership is key because you got, again, I'm always thinking business wise, you got write-offs. You got, and you can pay that off. If it's somewhere you can call your own, as you said, you can kind of have apartment, or now if you got a condo, they can come in and fix your stuff, but apartment, different things break, you got to wait for them. Then they do the things, they only do enough to keep you there, and you only pay enough to to stay there, that you ain't gonna go. Because think about it, Are you going to come into an apartment and put, uh, marble countertops if you don't have them? Take that out of the, you can't really do it the way you really want to do it, pretty much. But as far as on the business side of, as far as paying, it's always an investment. Most people say, I'm a homeowner. And I always say to the people that's a homeowner, we're going to find out who home it is if you miss 3 payments. Okay, you'll find you're a mortgage payer is what you are right now. You're working towards becoming a homeowner. And I help people out with that early on because they were like, well, it's my house, and they were like, well, Fred, I think you're too rough because people really are buying that more. I know they are, but you don't have it yet. Miss 3 payments, and you're going to find out who has it. Okay, but our whole goal is just making sure that you put yourself in position, because the home is like a bank. You have your own bank. Your house is your bank. You can do everything with your house. I mean, you can get loans from your house. Not that you want to go out taking loans, only if you need certain things. Okay, because of me paying myself back to me, I'm gonna treat me a whole lot better than me paying you back, Mr. Creditor. So, but it's a time and place of how you can use your mortgage. So mortgages are great. Right now, the market for buying a house now, it's a seller's market. It's not a buyer's market. It's a seller's market. And people say, well, why is it a seller's market? Because first of all, it's too many real estate agents, and not enough homes to sell. We got more real estate agents than we got homes. And people are not selling their homes. They're holding tight to their homes. So now if I do want to sell my house, it's good for me as a seller, because I can sell my house and get whatever I want out of it. I can ask some astronomical price for my house, and guess what? I'm going to get it. Why? Because there are no homes out there to be. I mean, it's the market now. I'm not saying if you're a real estate agent, don't go into real estate, don't go into investment property. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is that if you have a home right now and you want to sell it, you can sell and get anything you want to get from it. Why? Because there are not enough homes to sell. New developments are popping up. But as far as homes that are already in position, there are not a lot of homes because people are holding on to it because of the pandemic. I'm going to hold on to my home. I'm going to fix my little home up. I'm going to fix my stuff up. And I'm going to stay right here till this thing go over. So therefore, when people are staying in their homes longer and they're not willing to get out and sell, it's kind of harder to, buy, properties. But if you're a seller, great time to sell your house. Great time. You can get whatever you want. If it's a $300,000 house, you can get it upward of 100,000 extra, depending on your marketplace or where you're at.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So for all of you that are thinking, should I sell my house? Should I not? We're not saying sell it or don't sell it, but we're saying this might be a good time for you to get rid of it if that's what you're trying to do right now. So you guys are watching All Things Financial Part 2. We are talking everything from credit scores, debt consolidations, and mortgages. And next we're getting ready to get into insurance. But before we get into insurance, I do want to just backtrack a little bit on the debt consolidation. You can inquire with your bank or your credit union if they offer debt consolidation loans. And I think Mr. Wilson kind of mentioned that a little earlier. The APR on those are a lot lower than what you have on your credit cards. Because I believe my first credit card was like 17% APR. And I think the first consolidation loan that I had gotten was only like 6%. So that's like a huge difference. And you're able to bring, all your different credit cards together through one monthly payment that you're able to pay those cards off with one monthly payment with a extremely low APR. So ask your bank, your financial institutions about that. And then also earlier, Mr. Wilson mentioned something about making sure that you're checking your credit scores. You're entitled to, I believe, 3 reports a year. Right? 3 free reports. Okay. You're entitled to 3 free reports a year. So some of the places that you can get your credit reports from, Experian, That's the one that I personally use. I have an account set up with them where I get notifications if anything changes on my credit scores. I mean, if I have a hard inquiry, they'll notify me, hey, somebody just looked at your credit. Was that you? You know, if I opened up a new account, I get notified, hey, somebody just opened up a new account in your name. Is that you? So you can look up Experian, create an account with them, or I think the other one is Equifax,
Yeah,
right?
Equifax and
Yeah.
TransUnion.
Right, Equifax and TransUnion. So those are the three main ones, and they can send you 3 free credit reports annually. Okay, so let's take a few questions, and then we'll move on. Minister Hetty saying this information is so needed. Absolutely, I agree. And Prophetess Judah is saying what programs are there that would be able to help somebody to pay off their mortgages quicker? Are there any programs? And if there are, do you know of any? What are some that you know of that can help somebody to pay off their mortgages quicker?
One of the biggest lenders that we do business with now in the state of Maryland, we're not actually doing mortgages yet. But from there's still a company that we definitely do mortgages with, which is Rocket Mortgage. They have a good program. Used to be Quicken Loans, and then they speeded it up now. So now they're the number one lender, so that's Rocket Mortgage. So they're doing got a lot of different mortgage programs in order to pay your house off sooner. And even with, some of the things that you can do on your own. And again, I'll leave my information at the end and kind of, give you some different, depending on your situation. So everything goes by, we always say customize it to fit your personal situation, because everyone's situation is totally different as far as that mortgage is concerned, meaning what's your principal balance, how long you have left in your home, what's your goals, how long you plan on staying in the home, if you should even try paying the house off sooner. Do I do a 30-year mortgage? Do I do a 15-year mortgage? It's all of pretty much a preference, but it's a better program if you can sit down or Zoom or however you do it to find out, ask a couple of questions to be able to lead you in the right way to the right person that you need to talk to as far as a lender. Because everybody you go to, they're going to want to try to do something for you, but it might not be in your best interest. But you going in knowing exactly what you want can give you a more defined game plan on what program will fit your personal situation. Because with those questions I just asked you there, if you take those questions and bottle those up and you say, okay, I'm going to go to Rocket Mortgage, this is what I'm looking for. So now you're coming to the table with experience and knowing what you want. And I always use this, I joke about, I say, I have this, my good friend, everybody heard of him, name is Mark Twain. They're like, Mark Twain? How do you know Mark Twain? And Mark Twain said, I can help anybody get what they want. But the challenge is, it's hard for me to find somebody that know what they want. So if I sit down with you and find out, and that's why I believe that the way that we do business now is the best way. We call it kneecap to kneecap, belly button to belly button, meaning we sit down with our clients and we find out what you want, because most people don't know what they want. They got an idea about what they want and how they want to accomplish it. But being able to sit down and just ask 5 or 6 different questions, that way you know exactly what you want, you know where to go to, what company you need to, go with, because some companies do one thing better than others. So it depends on that. It's not like it's a one size fits all out there. But you want a customized program to fit your personal situation.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys keep the questions coming. This is really good. Keep engaging. I see the hearts going. Shout out to you, Sister Audrey. God bless you. And I see your comments and all that stuff. So keep them coming. Tag somebody, share this. Please share it. I'm going to give you all just 30 seconds real quick. Go ahead and share this because somebody needs to hear it. It's going to bless somebody. It's going to help somebody to be able to come out of not only financial debt, to be able to get themselves on the right path with their finances. So if you haven't already shared this broadcast, please share it with somebody. You never know who might need this information. You never know. And you yourself, I'm sure it'll be able to help you out one way or another. So tag somebody, share it, and let somebody be able to come out of financial prison, if that's the word I'm looking for. So as we move on, I think real quick, something that dropped in my mind was you spoke about refinancing. What is refinancing? How often should I do that as a homeowner or a car owner? And how does refinancing work? What is it?
Okay. Refinancing is just going back to a lender. Generally, a lot of times you can go back to the lender that loaned you the money in the first place. So, for example, if we're using a mortgage, I said Quicken Loans, so I'm just going to use Quicken Loans. I mean, you can use a lot of different companies to refinance. So it depends on, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but it depends on what you're trying to do with the refinance. Now, if I'm trying to get out of debt, if I'm trying to pay debt off, that's one way you can refinance, because now I can consolidate, do a refinance if I consolidate my debts. If I'm trying to pay off my car payment, okay, if I need home improvement done, I can get a home equity loan so I can refinance and get that money out to do the things that I want to do with it. The other reason is if the interest rate drops. So a lot of people hear that, okay, I'm at a 3.5% interest rate. Oh, the interest rate just dropped down to such and such and such. Again, credit score, depending on my credit score is, can I take advantage of that lower rate? If I take advantage of that lower rate, that means that the amount that I'm paying monthly is going to decrease, or it should decrease. So there's two things you can do with that. So if I'm paying $2,500 now for my mortgage and I'm at a 3.5%, and they said the rate's going to drop down to 2.25, something like that, I might can save myself an additional probably $350 to $400 a month, give or take. Don't quote me on that. But if I can save myself additional $350 a month, and it's not going to kill me to do the refinancing, because it's closing costs that's considered to go along with that. That's going to, have to come out of pocket, or sometimes they do it within your loan. But if I can save $400 a month, $350 to $400 a month, and I'm paying $2,500, and I can drop down to $2,100. Oh, I want to take that. So now I just freed up $400. Now, what do I do with that $400? That $400 is, again, seven income streams. That $400 a month now has become a part-time job coming back into my household to take care of things that I couldn't take care of before.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, you can use that additional money and say, well, I want to cut my years back. So instead of keeping it at a 30, going back to a 30-year, and I'm already in the mortgage already 5 years, what it would look like if I drop it down to a 15-year or a 20-year? So now, again, it depends on what I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to pay my house off, I might take the other route. If I'm just trying to free some money up because I feel like I'm drowning, then I'm going to take the other way. So again, it's the conversation that you got to have with the car payment. Okay, always check your car payment. I did it with, again, Navy Federal. I got a car about 2 years ago. And I called and say, well, look, just randomly call. I want to refinance my car. My rates dropped, credit's still good. What can I do? They can refinance it and cut some of that off, because the more interest that you cut off, the more of the payment that you get to actually pay out when you're making your car payment. Because a lot of that stuff is going to fat anyway when you first start making your car payment. Hardly none of that's going towards interest. So you're saving money on interest. And again, you can write that interest off with the house and with the car. So those are some of the two, things with the refinancing, either one.
I didn't know that the last part that you just said, that you can write off the interest.
Oh, you can write off the interest. You can write off credit card interest. So when you're doing debt consolidation, you can write that interest off. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay. I got to get with you then after this. I'll take this last question and we'll get into insurance, because I want to learn more about insurance and all that stuff. So Audrey is saying, let's say I'm new to the whole, credit, home owning, buying, and all the stuff. She said, what are some things that I should look out for if I'm a novice and let's say I don't have any credit, but I want to buy a home? What should I be looking out for when it comes to a home buying?
I would do my homework on, it's a program. I'm trying to think of what the program is. And I did it many years ago when I first started. It's a program that teaches you how to buy your first mortgage. I can't think of the name. It's on the tip of my. I'll get it later.
When he remembers, I'll send it to you, sis.
I'll send it to you. And it's a good program because it takes you through the process of getting your first home, and it doesn't rush you. So you're learning everything, because guess what? You need to learn while you're buying a house, because a lot of people buy houses that is not, compatible to them. It's not what they really need. They saw something that looked good, and you went in and like, oh my God, what did I just do? Okay, but it's a program, and I'm gonna get it before the show is over with. It's just a tip of my tongue, but I was definitely I will go through that program. I'm gonna get what the name of it is, and you can look it up because it's worldwide, nationwide. So you can kind of put it in there, and it'll give you step by step how to come up with your down payment, your inspection, what you need to look for this, what type of house, what how much house you need to buy, looking at your income. So all those things are like things you need to know if you're getting ready to go buy a house. You definitely want to be in. You don't want to be house broke. A lot of people are house broke. They got the house, but now they're struggling because now I got to keep my cable on or my electric. But I got this nice, beautiful house, but I'm not feeling comfortable in my house because I'm always got to work in order to keep the house. So sometimes you might have to start a little lower. You don't need to start with your dream house off the break. I'm just my first time buying. I'm going to go all in unless you are wealthy and you can, do those things. But, kind of start where you are and then move up from there because you could be in a house 2 or 3 years and then, and get out of that house and go get your next house. So you don't have to be in it for 30 years. They just said 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage or what, a 20-year mortgage. I can be in here for 3 years. Okay, I see how home ownership is. I'm comfortable now. I can pay my bills. I see how everything works. Okay, I got my money 3 to 6 months established in case anything breaks down in the house. So I'm not. And now you can move on to what you want to go on to, a bigger house, a bigger place. Not keeping up with the Joneses. Because one thing I always say before, for sure, everybody want to be like the Joneses, but what they don't know is that the Joneses are broke too. They just got a better way of hiding their brokenness. Mm-hmm. And then we're trying to copy somebody else. You don't know what hell they're living in inside of that house or the car that they bought, but because you see it. And we are a lot of people of perception. What I see is they're making money. Mm-hmm. They got this big house. They are dying inside of that big house.
Wow.
It's too much for them.
That's a whole sermon right there. That's a 3-part series, okay? Don't get me started. Okay, so let's talk insurance. This is your field. This is your forte. I'm even excited talking about this topic with you.
Right.
So, insurance. What is insurance all about? Why is insurance important? And what different insurances are there? Because I know that there are different types of insurances for different things and for different purposes. So, what types of insurances are there? What is insurance all about? Why is it important? Without giving too much, because we're going to keep, going to different sections. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start with mortgage insurance first. I'm going to start with that real quick. Pretty much there's 2 types of life insurance. You have whole life insurance and you have term life insurance. Okay. And then you have group life insurance, which is on your job. So pretty much 3: group life insurance, term insurance, whole life insurance. One of the things is, and we're talking about mortgage insurance since we were just talking about mortgages, a lot of people go out and get mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is really not homeowners insurance. We're talking about mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is nothing but life insurance. But a lot of companies charge you as a mortgage insurance company. For example, I'll give you a quick example. I got mortgage insurance. What is mortgage insurance? In case I were to die, it was supposed to pay off my house, AKA that's life insurance. But how mortgage insurance work in most cases, not all, most cases is if I got $100,000 mortgage insurance. Let's say my balance goes down to $80,000. In most cases, your mortgage insurance is going to drop down to $80,000. And you're still going to be paying the amount of money you was paying was at $100,000. If it goes down to $25,000, you're still going to be paying what you were starting out with at $100,000, but your balance is at $25,000. If it goes down to $5,000, you're still going to be paying what you would have been paying at $100,000, and your balance is $5,000. Okay, that's mortgage insurance. But what we're saying is it's the same thing as life insurance. Life insurance is, if I was to say, let me take $100,000 worth of life insurance out on my, God forbid, we customize our program to fit your situation. So we have that already inside of your portfolio. So for example, same thing, 100,000. If my balance goes down to 50,000, I still have 100,000. If my balance goes down to 5,000, as far as my principal balance on my mortgage, I still got 100,000. So if something happens to me, I'm still going to get $100,000, not 5,000 that it went down to because my principal balance went down. Okay, not to confuse you, but AKA mortgage insurance is still life insurance. Don't let them tell you that it's something different. Okay, Second thing is, let's get to whole life and its term. Those are the two types. I did say group insurance, but I'll kind of put that inside of here too. You have whole life insurance, which is you got whole life insurance that has a cash value with it. I always like to use hands. You got a death benefit and you got cash value bundled together, making it whole. That's whole life insurance. They got different names: universal life, variable life, index universal life. Okay. 10 pay life, 15 pay life, 20 pay life, interest sensitive life. Any type of life insurance policy that has a cash value is a whole life insurance policy. It's considered a whole life insurance policy. Return of premium is a form of a whole life insurance policy. So how they work, I don't know if you want to cut me off before I kind of go into
Nah,
it.
go ahead.
How those pretty much policies work is I have a death benefit and I have cash value, both of those things, as I said before. And I always use my hands. People, parents said, Fred, don't speak with your hands, but you got to speak with your hands here. So if I don't give you, I'm going to give you this visual. I got a death benefit. I got a savings, which is your cash value. That's bundled together. That makes it whole life insurance. So if I were to die, okay, it's supposed to pay off. My death benefit is supposed to pay off. The other part, a lot of people get stuck when they say, well, I got a savings inside of my whole life insurance policy. Okay. Rule number one, and I told us this last week, why would you save your money inside of a whole life insurance policy? And in order to get that money, you got to borrow that money. When I use the words out of my mouth, borrow means I got to pay something back. Okay. Borrow means pay back. So if I got a whole life insurance policy and my cash value is building up, in order for me to get that money, I have to borrow that from the company. Okay. Now, on the average, they're giving you anywhere from a 3 to 4% rate of return. That's what they're giving you, guaranteed, on that money inside of that whole life insurance policy. But when I want to go get that money, I have to borrow it and I have to pay it back at 6 or 8%. So I have to pay back double of what they're giving me on it in the first place. Okay. You're giving me 3, but when I go to take my own money, I have to pay my own money back at 6%. And some people say, well, Fred, I don't have to pay my money back. You're 100% right. What happens at that point is if you don't pay it back, they take it away from your death benefit. So if I had a $50,000 death benefit and I borrowed money from my policy and I never paid that money back, what it does first, it eats up your cash value.
Oh, wow.
Okay, that's like having a house and don't make a payment on 3 months. You're going to foreclose on it. So it eats away at your cash value. Once it eats your cash value up, it moves over to your death benefit. Then it starts eating away at your death benefit. So then what happens is once you die, then what's ever left over is what your family going to get. Now they're thinking they're going to get $50,000, and you might end up with $12,000 or $25,000. So it's a shocker to the family because you leaving your beneficiaries something saying that I got $100,000 life insurance policy. But that's happened so many times. It happens, at least 2, 3, 4 times to me in a month. Now, I've been in the company over 25 years, but I see death claims that come in that people think what they got, they don't have. So I say anybody that got a life insurance policy, we just going to do a checkup on it. We're just going to look at it and see what you got. And then one of the things I do, Pastor, is I call the company. Don't take my word for it. I always tell people, they say, well, I do business with you because of this or for that. Nope. What we're going to do is we're going to call the company. I'm going to be your uncle, your aunt, your cousin. I'm going to be your cousin, Junebug, or what have you. And I'm going to ask the questions that need to be asked. Right. I ask them 5 questions. And the client on the other side, they flabbergasted. They're like, oh, my God, are you serious? And they write down the phone, well, they didn't tell me this. They're not going to tell you this. Yeah. They're not going to tell you until it's too late.
Right.
Okay, that's whole life insurance. Then on the other hand, you have term. People say, well, Fred, term runs for a specific period, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 years. One of the biggest things they say with term insurance is, well, you're renting insurance. You just talked about, Fred, earlier about when Pastor Fornah asked you about buying a house and renting, and you was all over talking about the renting a house instead of the buying a house. Now we talking about insurance. Now you're talking about renting insurance compared to whole life, which is mean you buying insurance. Insurance, and this is the definition of life insurance. Life insurance is not for the person that's living. life insurance is for the person or people that you're leaving behind. Rule number one, life insurance is not for you. It's for the responsibility that you leave behind to be taken care of. God forbid if something was to happen to you before you get those things taken care of. Once we get the definition right, then everything else should be fine. Now, going to term insurance, okay, Fred, you're renting. No, I only need insurance for a certain amount of time. And Pastor Fornah, I am so mad that I didn't get you that slide to show it to you. You only need it for a certain amount of time. So, for example, I'm going to ask this question out. 30 years from now, if your house is paid for, your children are gone to college, your bills are paid for, you get ready to hit retirement, and you have $500 to $1 million already saved and banked, the question is, and it's a question, not do you want insurance, but do you need insurance? I want to throw that out there. Do you need insurance? My house is paid off. My children are grown. They're doing their own thing. Okay, I have no debt besides the electric bill, that type of stuff. Okay, I'm getting ready to hit retirement. Okay, and I have $500,000 to $1 million saved. Do I need life insurance? What's the answer? I didn't say want. Do I need it?
Yes.
Why would you say I need it?
Well, like you said, it's for the people you're leaving behind, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you've got 500,000 saved, but I mean, the life insurance will still add on and help because they still, I mean, with that 500 that you do have saved, they still gotta spend on your burial expenses. And let's say if you left any mortgages and stuff behind, they still gotta take care of all of that. But then let's say you do leave kids and stuff behind, then you know what happens with them after all those expenditures are gone, they're taken care of.
Right. Because remember what I said. Your house is paid off, so you got to worry about that. Your kids are grown. I ain't got to worry about taking care of no kids. They're grown. And I don't have no debt, and I have money.
Oh, then I don't think you need life insurance then, do you?
Need it.
Yeah, you don't need
it. Now, you should still want it, but you wouldn't need it. And the reason why I made that point is because our whole goal with life insurance. Now, first of all, who wants to talk about life insurance? Nobody, because
nobody wants to die.
Nobody wants to die.
Which is why I really wanted us to have this conversation, because this is something that I had this conversation with some friends about. They was like, well, them buying a life insurance is like them planning for their death. And one of the things I was telling them is that whilst we're not going to die prematurely in the name of Jesus, however, one day we're all going to die and it's inevitable. And for me personally, one thing I was telling them, you know, was just that I think it's kind of selfish to not get life insurance because you're not thinking about your family, the people that you're going to leave behind once you're no more. And I've seen families, you know, where they've lost, let's say, a breadwinner or, you know, a head of household or something like that. And they're scrambling, trying to do GoFundMe, trying to ask people for money and trying to take out loans. And now you're leaving your family in shambles, running helter-skelter, not only to bury you, but to now later have to offset some of, you know, the stuff that you left behind, you know, and because you didn't think about them whilst you were alive. So, like, I mean, I definitely do feel like this is an important conversation to have. Life insurance in general, but life insurance more specifically as well.
And just to add on to that, it's beyond selfish. Because when we're talking about life insurance, and the reason why I'm so into life insurance, because a similar situation happened to my mom. My mom passed away right when I was just getting ready to get into the business. There's certain things about your life insurance policy that you don't know because you don't have a life insurance license. You don't have a life insurance license, so you really don't know right now some of the things.
The shade.
No, not at all. No, you don't have a life insurance license, so you don't know a lot of the rules and regulations of what happened with your policy. So what happened with my mom, which now got me on this life insurance crusade, was she had something in her policy called a waiver premium that should have been checked. But because it wasn't checked, waiver premium means that if I become disabled and I can no longer pay for my policy, that the company will pick up your monthly payments and pay for your policy. But they never gave my mom the option to check that. God forbid she got sick. brain tumor, couldn't remember this, couldn't pay her bills, this, that, or the third, forgot to pay a life insurance, passed away. And when we went to the insurance company, they was like, well, if she would have had this check, this, that, or the third. She was supposed to have a check, but the agent and the company, what happened was when you check that, your policy is generally more. So what they did was, instead of them checking it, and I actually caught up with the guy that wrote the policy and asked him, he didn't know who I was. And when I went through the whole scenario, but there's certain things on your policy, guys, that we don't know that you think that's the right way and it's not the right way. That's why we always say, take a look. If you got a life insurance policy, even if you don't have to change it, you don't have to do anything. Just look at your policy. There's certain things about your policy that you can look at right off the top and you know what you got. Death benefit, for example, your death benefit options. How can I call this past the option if I don't give you the option to choose the right one? And here's what's in your life insurance policy. For everybody that got a whole life insurance policy, run and grab them, look in them. I'm telling you it's true. Listen, they have the death benefits option A, option B. What that means is that if I were to die, do I want my cash value and my death benefit? Maybe one option. Or do I want my death benefit or my cash value? So one of them I'm going to get both, and the other one I'm going to get one. What if I never give you the choice to choose one or the other, and I choose the one that you're going to get one instead of one that you're going to get two, but you're paying a premium for the one that you're supposed to get two? How would you feel if that was to happen to you?
That would be really messed up.
And I can look at everybody that has a life insurance policy. If you have a whole life insurance policy, you have that. You have an option. But if we were to be true on this call right now, I guarantee you that your life insurance representative didn't ask you that question. If something was to happen to you, would you want your beneficiaries to get the death benefit and the cash value, the way I'm saying it, or the death benefit or the cash value? They don't do it. They choose it for you. And the one that they choose, they make more money. Not saying all of them. I'm not saying all. I'm not putting everybody in this, but a lot of them, they don't give you the option to choose, and it's an option. How can you not give me an option to choose when it's an option for me to choose?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the other part. And then the other thing with term, we say by term, when we have.
So I'm sorry, before you move on to term,
Sorry.
what are some of the death benefits to insurances? Because I know some insurance would say, okay, we are going to give $2,000 to transport the remains of the person to whatever state. Let's say, God forbid, somebody passes, let's say in Utah, but their home is Maryland. So certain insurance policies would say, well, we'll give you $2,000 towards expenses to take the remains from Utah back to Maryland if that's where you want to hold the funeral. And then some of the benefits also would say, we'll help with the funeral arrangements, as in we'll design the programs for you. We will help you to pick out the coffin and all that stuff. So what are some that maybe you guys offer that are part of the death benefits?
Right. And that's the part that I really love about what we do and how we do it. So for example, let's say, for example, you have a life insurance policy with our company. Let's say, God forbid, you were to pass away. Generally, I get involved at that point in time. And then let's say that with that scenario, the death benefit that actually is coming to place, the funeral home or whoever just has the body or what have you, you have full rights to make all the type of arrangements right there. You don't have to be squeezed for money. With us, it's not, well, we only going to allocate this amount of money to go for this or to get the body to here, to dig for the grave, to open the grave, close the grave. We don't have to go through any of those different changes because it's all inside of our actual program. As much as you want to spend on those things, right. And then a lot of times I always go with them when they go to make the changes, because then you have the other part of it. You have the funeral homes.
Yeah.
You can go in a funeral home and spend $50,000. And I love funeral. I don't love funeral homes, but I mean, everything's a business. Mm-hmm. Everything's a business. I've seen where, people have been taken advantage of because they're mourning. they're mourning,
Yeah.
and they go in and they want the best for their loved ones, and they come out and it's astronomical. So now my personal clients, I'm the money man. I'll go with them.
Yeah.
And you know that
Like
from
you were there with us
your,
for my mom.
exactly. I'll come to the house. I'll sit down. I'll go over the information. I'll go to the funeral home with you to make sure, because you're not in the right state of mind at that point in time, and you got to make decisions. So you have to have somebody that's going to help you make those decisions and let you do what you want to do, but not to the point where as though you do too much and, that part of it. So we pretty much put all that together. As a package, as much as you want, you can have to do what I want to go have my ashes spread it in Africa. I want to go back to the mother. I want to do this, that, or third. All that we have, all that allocated where you can mix and match. Because we customize everything that fits you. That's the most important thing. It's not a one size fits all. Your situation is your situation, and we deal with your situation directly. And then you have not to jump off the subject, you have another couple of policies that coming out. You got return of premium. You got IUL. That's the biggest thing that's coming out. Index Universal Life. So you have so many different programs that are coming out here. But if I was to tell the average person that your insurance is going to go away in 15 years, it's going to explode inside out because your policy is going up every month. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Every year I get older, my policy is going up, but I'm not telling you that's going up. And your premium is going up, but it's look like it's staying the same on the surface. That's not fair. That's not fair to people.
Right.
I'm paying $60 a month, but next year I'm really paying $80 a month, but it still look like I'm paying $60. The next year I'm paying $100 a month. It still look like I'm paying $60. So what's being charged is I'm being charged a higher rate of return that's eating away at my cash value. That's what eats away your cash value and then moves over to your death benefit and start eating that away. And you're sitting there like, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm fine. But you're dying slowly on the inside. And then you have group insurance. And I'll finish with this one. You got group insurance. Now, I always tell people, if you got group insurance on your job, take advantage of it because it's pennies on the dollar.
So they match it.
With insurance, sometimes that's like the world, a lot of retirement plans. It depends on what you have. Some companies do.
Okay.
They go by your income. So a lot of times, here's the thing: what most people say. Now, with group insurance, there's some good things and some things that are not so good. With group insurance, it's the fees are low. I mean, because it's like 18 cents, $22 or something like that per pay, something to that extent. Okay. Now, the only thing with group insurance is this: it's group insurance. When it's time for you to leave that group and you now become an individual, guess what you're going to pay? A higher rate of return, a higher amount, because guess what? Insurance go by your age. So if I got group insurance, and I always say, guys, if you got group insurance, definitely get it if it's on your job, but always have something outside of your job too.
Right.
That's going to stay level the whole time and don't go up. Because once you leave that job, your insurance is gone, or you're going to pay an astronomical amount. You heard of Cobra with the health insurance. You're going to pay an astronomical amount for the insurance that you're going to get. And here's the thing: when COVID hit, guess what, guys? A lot of these insurance companies weren't paying the death claims.
Wow.
A lot of insurance companies try to back out of the death claims. When 9/11 hit, that building, guys, listen to this. I'm going to say one word to you: act of terrorism. Act of terrorism. When 9/11 hit, the federal government came out and said, down to the different insurance companies in your life insurance policy, look at it. If you got your life insurance policy, look at it. You got a war clause in your policy. If I die by act of war, I don't have to pay your death benefit. A lot of people don't know that. You got a life insurance policy right now that if it's an act of terrorism, an act of war. When 9/11 hit, Bush came out and said, this is an act of war, terrorism. You blew up the centers. Insurance companies now bailed out. I don't have to pay all these death claims. And needless to say, there was one company that, now some of the companies did pay for them. Not saying all of them, but a lot of them didn't. But guys, we don't have a terrorism act. If you die by act of terrorism, plane blow up, this, that, whatever it is, terrorism is I would come into a bank with a hoodie and mask on. I was at right. That's an act of terrorism. If they claim it that, and why do they claim it that? Big business. Everything is big business. It's big business. So that one thing that's in your policy. So that's why I'm saying you got a lot of little things in your policy that you, and they say accidental death. If I die by accident,
Yes.
I got 50,000, and then if I die by accident, I get double indemnity. I get another 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I
that
saw that in one of the policies.
is it? So that
Mm-hmm.
extra 50,000 that I get, okay. Somebody trying to come in. What's that? The
No
extra
problem.
50,000 that I get is what's going to happen with that is I got to die a certain way. Stipulations to that accidental death. I
Right.
always use this example because I see this in a lot of different policies. If you walk out of your house and you got a step, now all your steps are supposed to be measured, because the person that do it is a certain amount of height is supposed to be on the steps. If
Right.
I fall off your steps and I break my neck, okay, I fall off your steps and I break my neck, and it was an accident, right? It
Mm-hmm.
was an accident. But when they go back to the stipulations, they will come back and before they give you that 50,000 additional, they're going to measure your steps. Let's see if the steps was in the right height. Let's see if it was the right this, the right that. All
Wow.
this in your life insurance stipulations are in there. But if you're not used to reading a life insurance policy, you're not going to see it. So that 50,000 that you think you are getting, you're not going to get it.
Wow.
If you're in a car accident, this one company that I don't want to say the name of it, but this one
Yeah.
company is, if I'm in a car, we're driving in a car, and I'm the driver, you're the passenger on the other side. Okay, another one with you got to die within 90 days. If you die the 91st day, then we don't have to pay that accidental. That's one of the stipulations in the policy too. But we're in a car accident. Okay, I have to stay alive. And these are not all policy, but these are some of the egregious ones that I've seen.
You can go ahead and get it real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. So you guys, today we're talking all things financial. This is part 2. Today we've talked about credit cards, credit scores. We've looked at debt consolidations, the different types of debt consolidation loans that are out there. Excuse me, you guys. We've talked about mortgages, refinancing. I mean, we're putting out so much information out there for you guys. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And right now we're talking insurance. So real quick, Mr. Derek got a question that says, what's a good percentage to contribute into your life insurance? What's a good percentage to contribute into your life insurance? I think I can kind of touch on that a little bit on what's a good percentage. I don't know if you can necessarily say like a good percentage to contribute. I think you've got to look at the plan, the insurance plan, how much of the insurance you are trying to buy. Let's say you're trying to get like 50,000 or 80,000 and all that stuff. And they would say, okay, that'll be like $100 a month, 120 a month or whatever it is. So if that's something that you know that, okay, I can afford to pay a month, then, you go ahead and you take that out. But correct me if I'm wrong, but for the insurance plans that I have purchased, for my dad, for myself and all that stuff, I remember you asking me, okay, so is 100 is 130 something that you can afford monthly, for your dad's insurance or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that's cool with me. Or if it's 200, you gave me different quotes, insurance quotes, and I was able to pick out from there, because I think one of the quotes you gave me was, okay, you can get 80,000 or you can get 50,000 or whatever it may be for yourself, for your dad, for your brother, whatever. And so I looked at how much I thought I would be able to pay monthly, and that was how I was able to choose the package that I wanted for, myself, my family, and all that good stuff. But you can add to that.
Right. So the other thing with that, again, beating a dead horse, we customize it, meaning that we ask you certain questions. One of the questions is, if God forbid if something was to happen to you, do you want your house paid off? Okay, so we do it's called the dime. If you can remember this is how you should determine how much insurance you need. Dime, if you go diagonal down, D-I-M-E. The D stands for debt. How much debt do you have? If something was to happen to you, how much debt are you leaving behind that needs to be paid off? The I stands for income. It needs to be at least 8 to 10 times your income. So whatever you're making annually, it needs to be 8 to 10 times your income. A lot of people are afraid that's a lot. That's a lot of income. I mean, it's a lot of money you have for insurance. I mean, am I worth that much? Okay, then the next one is M. That stands for mortgage. If you have a mortgage, you put your mortgage in there. Then the last E stands for education. So you got debt, income, mortgage, education. So with that package right there, that's how we come up with how much life insurance coverage that you need. If you say, well, I don't have a mortgage, well, we take the mortgage part out.
Mm-hmm.
You say, if I don't have any kids, okay, you take the education part of it out. If I got debts, okay, because again, you don't want to leave your debts on somebody else to pay it. That's selfish. Okay, then the last one would be your income, 8 to 10 times your income. A lot of people say, why 8 to 10 times your income? On most jobs, on your job, when they give you life insurance in your job, what do they say? I got 3 times my income. That's the word. I got 2 times my income as far as insurance. So let me help you out with that. 3 times your income. If I got 50,000, 3 times my income means I got $150,000 worth of coverage. So then my next question is, that's 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. In the 4th year, now what happens to your income? See what I'm saying? What happens in the 4th year? I only got 3 times my income. What happens in the 4th year? Because my 50,000, because think about it. Out of the money that you made, a lot of people say, well, Fred, I made 60,000 last year. My question is, how much of the 60,000 do you still have right now? Well, I mean, it went to bills. I mean, I had to pay this, that, or third. So you can't contest that 50,000, that 60,000 is gone. Yes. So what makes you think that money won't still need to be there after that time frame? That's why we say 8 to 10 times your income. Now, when we say 8 to 10 times your income, so if I'm making $20,000 a year, that's $200,000 in coverage. I take that $200,000. If something was to happen to me, I'll take 15 to 20,000 out, put it towards your funeral expenses, this, that, or third. I take the rest of that money, I'll put into an investment, getting anywhere from a 12 to 18% rate of return. Guys, that's going to last you for 18, 20 years. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, that little 200,000 will last you 18 to 20 years, so it's going to continue to keep growing. And then what you're going to do is use the money off the top that your money made to take care of your monthly things that you left behind. So that money is going to leave me about $2,000 to $3,000 a month that I can take off the top, off of $200,000 worth of life insurance. That $2 to $3 grand is enough to pay for your monthly bills that you're going to leave behind. So that means that it continues to keep growing and keep growing and keep growing and keep getting bigger and keep getting bigger and keep getting bigger. So that's why we say that a lot of people, and I'll leave it with this, and then you can ask me questions. When I moved into the shopping center or the mall where my office is right now, and the guy that owned the building, he was a Jewish guy. And we were sitting down talking one day, and I believe I told you this story. He said this, and he kind of changed my mind because I've been there for over 20 years now. He said, Fred, he said, when you're talking about life insurance, he said, when one of us die, Jewish guy, he said, when one of us die, 5 of us become millionaires. We get 5 millionaires every time one person dies. 5 people could become millionaires. And he said, well, one of you guys died, and we on a basis like calling me you, black, what have you. He said, well, one of you guys died. In most cases, you know, we cool before then. I don't know where I'm at. We're hitting. I'm like, what you mean, one of us? Okay. But when one of you guys dies, or somebody in your community dies, he said, y'all passing a hat. He said, why is it that when one of us die, 5 of us become millionaires, and then one of you guys die, one of y'all passing a hat, y'all got GoFundMe accounts. Now, GoFundMe even started making, GoFundMe made so much money, it's ridiculous.
Listen, okay?
No way to GoFundMe account, that 10% off the top that they're getting, all these GoFundMe accounts, because you can't go get a $15 a month life insurance policy that's going to give you $50,000. Come on. That's why I say I'll get heated when we start talking about that. But anyway, we said 5 of us become millionaires. One of y'all passing a hat. Why do you think they buy so much property? Why do you think they got so many shopping centers and they collectively had that money together? Because they said the generational wealth that's passed down from generation to generation is life insurance. That's the quickest way for generational wealth. It's life insurance.
Wow. Wow. I mean, it's been a great show, and we can go on this topic of financials and financial management and budgeting and insurance and all that good stuff. But our time is fast spent today. And so we're going to just go ahead and kind of just wrap it up right here for today. But before I do let you go, any final words that you may have for them when it comes to insurance? But before that, tell them just a little bit about, your company, Primerica, the different things that you guys do offer, and then how they can get in contact with you. And then after that, you can give your closing remarks.
Okay. My handle. Okay. First thing is, what I want to say is that, guys, listen, and when we come down to life insurance, again, I'll definitely get kind of animated because it's near and dear to me. I mean, I've been in the business over 20 years, and I've seen so many people that were, pass away clients and different, people that had different companies and different things like that kind of taking advantage of, consumers. And, it comes to a point where you get sick and tired of being sick and tired about being sick and tired. Then it's time to start doing something about, being sick and tired. Like, as I said before, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is power, not just knowing. Okay. It's a book called The Knowing Doing Gap. You might want to read that book. Again, like I said, my name is Fred Wilson. I'm a regional vice president with Primerica Financial Services. I know last week I had gave my, I'll give you my office number this week. Again, you can reach me at risewithfred.com. And then from there, once you go on there, they'll give you all my information to my Instagram is risewithfred.com on Instagram, or Rise with Fred is what it is. Facebook is the same thing, Rise with Fred. You can look me up on that as well. And .com. And then, of course, I gave my number last week. They were like, you don't supposed to give your number out, But definitely, you have my number. Anybody to contact you directly, you can definitely give them my number. I definitely would love to sit down and talk to them. And again, guys, we're looking for people that are looking for us, man. And the most important thing is being able to sit down, as we're doing it over Zoom now. I know you're in California. I'm here in Maryland. You have people in Ohio. You got people all over the place. Whereas though now, we have a better way of being able to reach people, to be able to actually sit down, look someone eye to eye, and tell them everything. I mean, you pull a policy out. Now you got the share screen. We can share your policy. We can look. We can kind of break everything down and make sure that you're in the best position that that you possibly can be in. So we're looking for that, and we're looking for more people to come on board to help us fight this good fight, because there's not enough of us out here that that needs to. Everybody needs to have this information. Everybody needs the information, even from, just knowing some financial, even if just to get a financial education. How bad would that be just to get a financial education? So we're looking for people, and we do all the free training. We train you, bring you on board. So we're looking, we're going to get you licensed too. So we're definitely excited, man, about what we're doing in the community. And I just want to leave this last quick thing. One of the things we were doing for churches, we had one time, it was called like the Jeremiah plan. And I was doing this at a couple of different churches. Some pastors like it, some pastors don't. But what we were able to do was like the, the executives of the church, we had like different small little policies that they wanted to take out, to kind of leave something back to the church. And by me being in charge of financial stewardship with the churches that, I deal with, and what happens is they might have had a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 life insurance policy. If something was to happen to them, that beneficiaries will get $15,000, and it kind of help the church continue to keep growing, in that absence, and different things like so. It's a lot of different things that we were doing as far as educating people and making sure that people are taken care of in a proper way. So that's my part. I am excited to be on this 2-week, man. I can go forever, but I know the time is supposed to be an hour. We're already an hour and a half over, but I'm just excited because the information is just so, I'm just a giver. I just want to give the information because I know people are thirsty for the information, right, and they need it in order to make better financial decisions. And especially in our community, why is it that we are so private about our finances? We are so private about our finances that we don't want the help. Some people, I'm good. Give me a dollar sign and go with I'm good. You're not good. You're drowning in debt, but your pride won't allow you to open up so that we can help you. No one wants to look at your situation.
That's the
We just want
one.
to help you through your situation. And the longer we can't stop, we call it ego, edging God out. As long as you continue to hold on to what you got, then keep it, because that's all you're going to ever have. So that's it. I can go on. I'm going to let you go ahead and close this out.
That's really good. That's really good. You guys, I've learned so much from this man. Like I said, I've known him for um over half of my life, really, and I've always been able to hit him up with questions, concerns and all that stuff, just to be able to kind of educate myself on certain things that I don't know. And like I said, every time I have a conversation with this man, my mind is blown. So you guys definitely look him up, www.risewithfred.com. Right here on Facebook, just type in Fred Wilson. I'm going to tag him on this video, so you can just click on his name from the title of today's broadcast, and it'll take you right to his page. Please look him up. Please contact him. Please hit him up, and just start talking. Like he said, one of the main reasons why our community, African Americans, Africans, Black, why we are always a lot of the times drowning with our finances or in debt and all that stuff, is because we don't have plans. We're not talking about those things. We're not educating ourselves. And, not to sound any kind of way, one thing I've noticed about other races, like you mentioned, the Jews or Caucasians, is that they invest, they pay, they get the knowledge, they seek out the information. And here I am, bringing all different professionals to talk to us for free. And a lot of people don't take advantage of it. So please, let's take advantage of it. Contact him, contact me if you have more information, and I'll give you a direct link to him, and we can go from there. Mr. Derek is saying this is really a deep conversation. I think everybody needs a financial advisor like Mr. Wilson. Absolutely. Miss Ewa, hi, Miss Ewa. She's saying absolutely. A lot more people need this information. Absolutely true. Miss Audrey is saying, wow, I've learned a lot from him, sis. Really great broadcast. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. And Miss Ewa is saying information is so key to make good financial decisions. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. Mr. Wilson, thank you so much for giving us these past 2 weekends of your time. It's been such an honor to have you on the Made for More show on the Princess Fornah Network. I appreciate you. I've got mad love for you always. I know I've got to get my life together. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But thank you. Thank you so much for being on here. We've been educated. We've been blessed by your presence. Please hang out backstage. I'm going to just wrap up real quick, and then we'll be out of here. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you.
So you guys, that brings us to a close of our 2-part series on all things financial. I hope you guys have enjoyed these series. I hope you've learned a lot as much as I have. There were some things that I already knew, but I've definitely learned a lot more these past 2 weekends. I hope it's been the same for you. Again, please share this video. Let it be on your timeline so that somebody can stumble on it and be able to learn something new. Share it in your contacts with your friends and with everybody. Mr. Wilson, again, one more time, thank you so much for coming on. We are just so grateful. I love y'all. Please have a great weekend, everybody. But before I let you guys go, a quick announcement. We will not be live next week. The Made for More show will not be live next week. By the grace of God, I will be traveling, and then also Prayer Works might not be on next Monday. Prayer Works and the Made for More show might not be on next week. So just a heads up, you guys. But then we'll continue after that. I love you all so much. Real quick, before I let you go, a quick word of prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, we just want to commit the rest of our weekend into your hands, God. Watch over us, protect us as we go about our weekend. And just watch over our families. And Lord, let us be able to take everything we've learned from Mr. Wilson and be able to apply it into our lives and actually take the actual needed steps to be able to better ourselves financially. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you guys. I'm Princess Fornah, aka Pastor P. My special guest, Mr. Fred Wilson. This is the Made for More show. We'll catch you guys next time. God bless you. Have a lovely weekend Until next time, you guys, stay blessed. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, they say things yeah, about me. I was made for more. A lot of people, yeah, they doubt me. I was made for more. Even though the road may be rocky, I was made for more. Yeah, the enemy can't stop me. I was made for more. I was born for greatness and not the